Hi, I'm Lorna from wearablyweird.com, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to break in Doc Martens painlessly for free using things that you can find around the house, plus a really cool overnight method if you're really strapped for time. Now, everyone on YouTube is going to tell you to buy a leather conditioner and stretch out your boots with a boot stretcher, which are really great options for breaking in docs, but I wanted to make this video for those who don't want to spend any extra money and would just like an easy, free fix using things you can find around the house. I have been wearing Doc Martens myself for over 15 years and I have the scars to prove it. And so I really don't want you to get little ankle scars that last you your whole life. So I've decided to make this video to compile all of my personal experience, plus some advice from the official Doc Martens breaking guide and some extra help from a Doc Martens retailer here in the UK, where the boots are made. Tip number 1 is to wear a plastic bag over your feet before putting them into your Doc Martens, which sounds a little bit weird, but there is a method behind this and a reason, so stick with me. So, putting a plastic bag over your socks creates a barrier between your feet and the Doc Martens, which helps prevent a lot of chafing when you're walking. So your feet are going to start sliding around inside the plastic bag, which creates a lot of movement and prevents blisters, and it actually helps the leather move around too, which I'm going to show you in a second. So when you actually have the plastic bag on over your socks in your Doc Martens, if you fold it down and wrap it around your ankle, you can't see it at all. But what this actually does is helps your feet slide around and prevents the blisters, which is awesome, but it also actually helps the leather to crease and move around too, which really speeds up the break-in and softening process. I actually got this plastic bag tip from a Doc Martens retailer here in the UK, and I thought it was absolutely awesome, so I really wanted to include it in this video. So tip number 2 is a little bit weird, and you might be wondering what this is doing here. So something you can do when breaking Doc Martens is purchasing heel pads that will stick down inside the back of the boot, but if you don't have the money or time to wait for them to ship to you, you can use a common household item, and we all know what this is. It's a health sanitary product that you can trim with scissors, stick down inside the back of your Doc Martens boots and create a little heel pad cushion for yourself. So I like to trim the pad down to size to make a little heel pad like this, and then just open your Doc Martens, insert it down the back of the heel on the sticky side and press it against the lining of the boot. And what you'll have here is a stuck-on little heel pad. Now this is a bit unconventional, but Doc Martens are kind of unconventional. They're a punk boot, and what's more punk than using random things around the house to help you break them in? It's a bit weird, so let me know what you think of it in the comments and whether you'll be trying it out. I came up with this tip when I was about 15 years old and I was absolutely desperate, bleeding into my Doc Martens, and I really wanted a little cushion in the back that would help me prevent getting blisters. And I tell you what, it really works. Give it a go. So tip number 3 is an absolute classic, but not many people have actually thought of doing it. And it's to heat up the back of your Doc Martens with a hairdryer and then to massage the leather to help it soften and break in much quicker. So the way I like to do this is to hold my hairdryer about 20 to 30 centimeters away from the back of the Docs, heat it up for about 10 to 15 seconds, put the hairdryer down, then massage the back of the boots, and repeat this about 3 or 4 times. Then try wearing them, see how they feel, and maybe the next day going back and doing it again as needed. Obviously, don't try and melt the boots, and if you see the leather creasing and cracking, you're getting it too hot for too long, so just be careful and use some common sense when doing this one. So the next tip is a great one for if you don't own a boot stretcher and you want a free method that you can do at home. What I like to do is stretch out my Doc Martens overnight with old t-shirts that are stuffed into the boots and pulled really tight. So I'm going to show you how to do that here. Super easy. Stuff the boots as much as you can and try and get things in there as tight as possible so you can feel the leather stretching and pulling. Get another one in there if you can. You can also do this with old newspaper, but I prefer to use clothes because they don't have ink on them and not going to stain the inside of my boots. So you can really see that stuffed and compressed really tight in there. And what you want to do now is pull the laces closed as tightly as you can. You can really see me straining here. Pull them really tight like that, so they're straining. Tie them up. And just do this whenever you're putting your docs in storage, and over time it will really help stretch them out and save your poor ankles doing all the work. Obviously this isn't a quick or an instant fix, but it's a really good one for doing while they're in storage anyway. As a quick FYI before we move on to the next tip and then the overnight method, if you're looking for a more specific breaking guide for different models of docs like the Jadens or something, I have a link in the description to a post on my blog that is huge and covers how to break in different types of Doc Martens as well if you're needing some more specific advice. So this next tip is another classic, and you're probably groaning thinking, yeah, I've heard this one before, wear thick socks with Doc Martens. But here's a little twist on it. What I like to do when wearing my thick socks, these are wool, before putting on Doc Martens, is to put plasters, or band-aids if you're in America, on the back of my heels, preemptively where I think the blisters are going to be. So I'll show you what I do. I apply the plaster right on my heel where I think the biggest blister is going to be, and I'll either apply 1 or 2 plasters to give myself extra protection as needed. Then I'll pull up my pair of thick socks, and I'll likely put on another pair of thick socks too to create an extra barrier before attempting to brave walking in new docs. In the beginning of this video, I mentioned an overnight method to breaking in your Doc Martens. Enter a bag of water, which may seem a little bit strange, but here's how it's going to help break in your docs. What we're going to do is we're going to stuff this down inside one of your Doc Martens, make sure it's sealed, then we're going to put it in the freezer overnight. And what's going to happen is the water in the bag is going to expand as it freezes. It will expand by about 1 centimetre or so. But what this will do is force the leather of your docs to expand just by a little bit, not enough to damage them, but enough to really kickstart that break-in process and stop your poor feet having to do all that expanding work on their own. What you'll do the next morning, take your docs out, take the bag of ice out, allow them to defrost a little bit before putting them on, but when you do, you'll feel that the leather has stretched a little bit and they'll be way more comfortable. This works really well, not only for docs, but for all leather boots. So just put the bag of water down inside your docs. And the cool thing about water is it will mould to the shape of your Doc Martens. Just make sure it is sealed really thoroughly at the top. You can also tie it with a rubber band if you like. But in there, like a little water balloon, it will expand overnight in the freezer and help your docs stretch out. What you can also do is put an additional plastic bag over the top of your docs to keep the frost off them, and which will make them really easy to defrost in the morning. If an overnight method isn't good enough for you and you need an instant fix, you can put on your docs, tie them on tight, and dance and kick around like you're at an 80s rock punk show. I'm only joking, that's not going to work, if only. If you don't mind spending a bit of money, what you can do is get some Dr. Martens Wonder Balsam from the official Doc Martens website. What you'll do with it is massage it into the leather to help it soften, and those are the steps that are explained in the official Doc Martens breaking guide. This works super well, but this video I really wanted to focus on some free tips for you.